next speaker is Gabi Shani. She is a representative of the Menmon Foundation, Israel's leading philanthropic organization for animals' rights. Over the 12 years of experience leading in complex social initiatives and an MA from Stanford University, Gabi is an expert in bridging the philanthropic and public sectors to create lasting change. Today, she will discuss an innovative model of restoring purpose to older adults through the care of community cats, turning the invisible into something essential. Gabi.
Thank you, Noam. Good evening, everyone. I'm very excited to be here and honored to speak after the amazing Sivan, which is a huge inspiration for all of us here in Israel, for me personally. Thank you, Sivan, for being with us and for having such hope and showing for all of us how you can deal with grief and pain by building something beautiful and new and making our society better. You're truly amazing. So I will share my presentation. I would like to start my talk today with a simple question. When we think about helping animals, what comes to our mind? I believe most of us picture petting them, feeding them, caring for them. Now, when we think about helping people, especially those in need, we tend to imagine pretty much the same thing: care, comfort, support. But what if what both sides actually need isn't more comfort, but maybe more dignity or purpose? So as Noam presented, my name is Gabi, and I'm very proud to represent the Menmon Foundation. Menmon is a philanthropic family foundation established around 8 years ago by an extraordinary woman who decided to devote her resources and her soul and heart to improving the lives of animals. I believe all of us strive for such a better world for them. Our work in the foundation spans through education, policy, legal change, public advocacy, and more. And some of our projects are represented at the catalog of this shared space conference, the lovely catalog of initiatives from all around the world. In the foundation, we are pretty much focused on long-term systematic work. But along that, we constantly ask ourselves, how can we help animals today while trying to change a piece of the future for them? In our search for answers, we kept encountering two parallel realities. On one hand, thousands of animals, abandoned, neglected, invisible, and on the other hand, thousands of people, lonely, marginalized, disconnected. So we asked, what if these are not two separate problems, but maybe two halves of a shared opportunity? What if we bring these populations together, not just for weekly petting sessions that unfortunately are very popular, but I believe don't contribute so much, not to the people and definitely not to the animals. I'm talking more about connecting between these populations in a structured, ongoing, meaningful way. We began developing what we call our reciprocal rehabilitation models, win-win frameworks connecting rescued animals and vulnerable communities. For example, inmates rehabilitating abandoned dogs, living together 24 hours, helping and supporting each other. A rescue farm for donkeys and sheep inside a Bedouin youth village in Nitzana in the south of Israel. And another example is a project I'd like to share with you today: a cat shelter inside a senior living facility. On the second floor of the Mishan Givatayim building, a lovely city near Tel Aviv, we transformed a neglected, unused space into a warm and cozy cat rescue shelter. The idea was to bring together older adults, often experiencing loneliness and the loss of purpose, abandoned cats in need of care and a loving home. Let's see how it looks in a short 2.5-minute video.
הקרבה לנפש אחרת שמתמסרת לו, אני חושב עושה טוב לכל אדם.
I want to see full screen. Okay.
הקרבה לנפש אחרת שמתמסרת לו, אני חושב עושה טוב לכל אדם. אני ישעיהו, בן 85, אני מבקר באופן קבוע בחתוליה. תנו לחיות לחיות, הצילה פה את כל החתולים האלה.
המקום הזה למעשה הוא בית מחסה לחתולים. חלק ניצלו מדריסה, חלק ניצלו מהתעללות של בני אדם. כאן הם מקבלים את ההזדמנות להשתכן, שהם יירגעו קצת מהחוויות שהם עברו בעבר, והתרגלו גם לנוכחות של בני אדם. והמטרה השנייה היא שיאמצו אותם.
החתולים כאן נהדרים, בשבילי זה כמו משפחה כמעט. כשאני מגיע לכאן, הבדידות שלי מתפוגגת. זה מקום מאוד חשוב לא רק לחתולים, גם לבני אדם. אנחנו מאוד מתרשמים מזה שאדם יצר כל כך הרבה דברים, תרבות שלמה. זה נכון, אבל זה יפה, אבל זה כל כך מעט בחיים שלנו, כן?
כי מה באמת מצמיח אותנו? מה באמת חסר לנו?
אני תמיד אומר חיבוק ונשיקה.
It doesn't matter how many times I see this movie, I'm always touched. So our initial model was pretty much in line with the classic human-animal interaction research. We imagined many residents like Yoshua spending hours cuddling cats, playing with them, forming deep emotional bonds. For some residents like Yoshua, like the lovely residents you see in those pictures, it worked beautifully. But for many others, not so much. Some of them felt that playing with cats was a bit childish. Also, some cats, well, they didn't exactly read the program manual of being therapy cats. They had their own rehabilitation goals, mostly involving naps. And on top of that, our adoption model, luckily, grew really fast, and cats came and went pretty frequently, so long-term attachments were hard to build. We realized that the model worked beautifully for the cats. High adoption rates, excellent medical care, safe, loving environment. But less so for many of the residents who weren't so connected. So we asked, how else can residents connect with the shelter, even without physically touching the animals? How can this space meet their emotional and social needs as well? Our first move was to open the shelter to families on weekends. Our theory was simple. If the cats won't bring people in, maybe the grandchildren will. And it worked beyond expectations. The shelter truly became a magnet for family visits. Grandchildren and even great-grandchildren started actually wanting to come visit. They played, laughed, ran around, and suddenly visiting grandma became the new weekend attraction. We even saw teenagers voluntarily entering a nursing home, and I assure you there was no TikTok challenge involved. Along that, something deeper happened too. The cats became what researchers call social mediators. They break down barriers. They spark conversations and laugh, create natural, wordless connections. The awkwardness that sometimes settles between generations, the not knowing what to say, simply dissolved. 3, sometimes 4 generations in the same room, completely at ease. Visits became longer, warmer, and more frequent. After seeing that success, we thought, why stop here? We learned how much the residents craved connection with the outside world. Together with a leading group of residents, the staff developed a new idea, opening the cat shelter for the community by operating a cat cafe event on Saturday mornings. So in the last 2 years, once a month, the residents bake cakes, create handmade crafts, ceramic, jewelries, keychains, all cat themed. And they host a big community event with local families. I want to show you how it looks like.
הם פשוט מתמלאים באורות, קפה, תה, עוגיות טבעוניות, ילדים מבוגרים באים לשבת, ללטף חתולים, ואולי גם לאמץ. חתוליה, יש מבט של תקווה, לכל שפם יש סיפור, ולכל לב אהבה, יושבים עם כוס קפה, והם באים להתקרב. מפילים הגנות ומרפאים את הלב. אז אם עברתם פעם ליד מישן גבעתיים וקיבלתם חיוך מציץ מהתריסים, זה לא רק מקום, זהו
This is amazing Lilach. She's the manager of the shelter and she's just amazing. People for the community, they actually buy tickets for these events, and the proceeds goes to supporting the cats, especially the expensive vet care that some of them need. And usually on Saturdays, on average, we have around 200 people coming. We didn't imagine that it would be such a success and so many people will want to come. In some of the events, we even have waiting lists. And you should really see the glowing faces of the residents in these events. Another thing special happened around these events is that something that a real community was born. So people who barely knew each other began working side by side. Through planning, baking, arranging, they became a team. You can see in this picture even one of the grandchildren with her grandma preparing for the next cat cafe. And it means so much for them to form these new relationships and to be part of something together. Over the past 3 years, we had 219 cats adopted and found new homes through this shelter. And the pride it gives the residents, it's really hard to describe. They know that they are not just helping cats, they are contributing to their community. These are people who not long ago were mostly defined but by what they could no longer do. And now they are fundraisers, they are hosts, they are creators, and community leaders. We began the project with a simple, almost automatic assumption that helping animals means touching them, and helping people means comforting them. But what we discovered was something far deeper. Sometimes dignity doesn't come from being cared for. It comes from being able to care for others. And the most powerful connection between humans and animals are not just physical. It's about dignity, purpose, agency, and shared existence. When we started, we imagined a quiet room filled with residents petting cats. What we found instead was a shelter that grew into a lively community, grandparents and grandchildren reconnecting, residents creating, leading, and shaping something together. So maybe the real question isn't how can animals help people, or how can people help animals? Maybe the real question is how can we design systems where humans and animals both become essential to one another, where healing is truly reciprocal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gabi.